Adrienne, and welcome back to my kitchen for a new dessert devotion. I can't wait to share with you an easy dessert recipe and an inspiring devotional. Our featured recipe is sweet potato cheesecake. We're going to start with 3 8-ounce bricks, that's 24 ounces total, of room temperature cream cheese. To that, I'm going to add about half a cup of sour cream, that's about 4 ounces. Then 1 cup of dark brown sugar and half a cup of white granulated sugar. I'm going to bring these ingredients together on medium speed in my mixer before adding in my eggs, and I'll do those one at a time. Then I'll add a 15-ounce can of canned sweet potatoes. It's nice to not have to bake and peel sweet potatoes for this recipe. Now I'm ready to add a teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 a teaspoon of nutmeg, and 1 tablespoon of vanilla. Throughout this recipe, I did find myself having to scrape down my bowl once or twice to make sure everything was mixed in well. And I just finished everything off for about a minute before pouring it into the pie crusts. This batter is originally for a big cheesecake in a 10-inch springform pan, but I'm going to cut corners by using ready-made crusts. Now I'm trying out a 9-inch graham cracker crust and a 9-inch pecan crust that I bought from the store, but I still had a lot left over. So I think that you could really make 2 10-inch cheesecakes using store-bought crusts instead of making one big one where you'd have to take the time to make your own crust from scratch. I'm gonna bake these in the oven on 350 for about 35 minutes. The edges will be set, but the center will still be a little jiggly when they're ready to come out. Now that our cheesecakes are in the oven, let us settle in for a time of devotion. As we celebrate Juneteenth weekend, we reflect on the history of the holiday. On June 19, 1865, Major General Gordon Granger rode into Galveston, Texas, and read General Order Number 3. The people of Texas are informed that in accordance with the proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. We can imagine those who heard those words, that they were finally free. The day of Jubilee had arrived. On the other hand, there must have been shock and anger to realize that the Emancipation Proclamation had been signed over 2 years ago. And even the Civil War had concluded months ago that really solidified the abolishment of slavery in our nation. And so from that June 19th forward, beginning with Black communities in Texas, many have celebrated the Juneteenth holiday. In fact, I remember growing up, as we would have our 4th of July cookouts, my mom would also say, now our other Independence Day is Juneteenth, shorthand for June 19th. It means so much that now Juneteenth is our newest federal holiday. Because when we celebrate the abolishment of slavery in our country, that's not just Black history, that's American history. We owe it to ourselves as a nation to not only acknowledge our shared past, but to use that as a stepping stone for our shared better future together. But you know, as believers, there are other days of independence, of freedom as well. The day that Jesus died on the cross and took the sins of all of us upon his shoulders. The day that Jesus was resurrected and broke the chains of sin and the sting of death forever. So as you struggle day to day to resist the temptation of sin, have you not heard the news that you are already free? Have you not heard the news that over 2,000 years ago, there was one who died for you, that you might be free from the chains of sin? Let us remember Paul's words in Galatians in the 5th chapter and 1st verse. It is for freedom that Christ has set us free. Stand firm then, and do not let yourselves be burdened again by a yoke of slavery. Amen. Well, my cheesecake is fresh out of the oven. It does have a tiny crack. And if you want to avoid cracks in your cheesecake, you can actually take this pan and put it in a larger pan in about 1 inch of water. And that will sometimes prevent the top from cracking. Of course, that's not going to keep me from enjoying this great cheesecake with that nice sweet potato flavor. On Juneteenth, I hope you will enjoy this twist on a traditional sweet potato dessert. Thanks for joining me, and check out more sweet devotionals at dessertdevotion.com.